Oh, hello. Welcome to another video, and in this video we'll see that here come the starter sets finally that were previewed back at Gen Con, and they're going up for pre-order next week. So they've announced they're bringing out the Kill Team starter set, so we saw a preview about this ages ago, Gen Con. Just to go through what's in the box, so it's mostly familiar stuff. There's some new things in there. I don't know what I think about this box. There's things that I like and there's things that I don't like. And like a lot of things with Games Workshop, I think it's going to come down to the price point. So you get the full teams that are in Octarius. So you get the Veteran Guardsmen and the Commandos, which is great. They're all new model, not brand new now. They've been out for a while, but they are both, unlike the Pathfinders team, sculpted new for Kill Team. I think they'll be popular. They're both, Commandos are one of the top teams in the game now, so it'd be a good way to get started. You're not getting a chaff army, you're getting something really useful and good that you can carry on with. They've produced one of those small format core rules books. They can be very popular, and depending on how they've laid it out and which bits they've cut out or not cut out, I can see them being popular with people that have Octarius wanting to pick up the small rulebook, and this is why it depends on the price point, because if you're someone that's picked up Octarius and maybe you are after a second sprue of Guardsmen anyway, yeah, that small format core rulebook could be really appealing. There's also something called the Recruit Edition book. Now the Recruit Edition book, they've said it contains everything it needs you need to play the game to get stuck in. So I'm assuming that the actual rosters, at least for matched play, are included in the Recruit Edition book. I guess it probably won't have all the narrative spec ops stuff, maybe not the name generators. But I'm hoping it will at least have those pages from the Octarius book, so that you can actually play the full rules with the teams on the get-go. It would be disappointing if it only had like a cut-down version of the rules for your team, so you had to buy the separate book, which we're going to get onto in a minute, along with the starter set. That's a little potential wrinkle, but it does sort of say everything you need to get stuck in. It is quite a big book. I think it's 50 something pages that they've said that Recruit Edition book is. I'd be really interested to see what's in it. I'm hoping that copies of this have been sent out, obviously not to tiny little YouTube channels like mine, but hopefully we'll find out next week from some people on the internet. Maybe Glass Half Dead will get a copy, somebody like that, and we'll find out what's in that Recruit Edition book. Hopefully it is the full rules for the teams and maybe some new tutorials. Be really interesting. I've been thinking about a video about the best way to teach Kill Team. It'll be really interesting to see what Games Workshop think the best way to bring a beginner in is, if they have kind of a getting started section. You've then basically got the contents of what they currently sell as the Kill Team Essentials pack. So that's the plastic sprue with the barricades, the rangefinders, and the big cardboard sheet of tokens. So I don't know. I've got some friends up north that I was teaching the game to over Christmas, and they were going to go out and buy the Kill Team Essentials packs. I don't know if they still have bought them yet. If not, maybe if you're after a set of Kill Team Essentials, you're going to hold off and find out how much this set is, because it could be, Games Workshop could release this at quite a cheap price point. It's really hard to tell. I know that seems ridiculous when you're talking about Games Workshop, but it's really hard to tell with their starter boxes, and it is branded as a starter set. Sometimes they do, I'm not going to say a loss leader because they're still going to make a profit on it, but they do have things that they're prepared to make a bit less money on to get people hooked and get them into the hobby. So maybe that, like, is it £20 for the Essentials pack? Maybe that. I don't know. It depends how much this ends up being. You get the scatter terrain, which I can see why they've done it. They've put the scatter terrain in. They've put the sort of the sprue with the barricades and the scrap piles from Octarius in the box, and you are not going to have a fun game on the terrain that you've been given. I think this is. I don't want to spend too long. I don't want to bash the product. I think it's a good product. I think it's really good for the health of the game. There is a starter set. I hope it is priced quite cheaply, and it's a really good way to pick up those models and the rules and the tokens and the things that you need. However, if someone actually wants an all-in-one box experience, I expect this is going to be the first video of many videos saying, new players, please, you're going to need some more terrain. Now, if you play 40k, you've probably got some terrain, or you can get some cheaper third-party terrain to bulk it out, and you've got some nice little pieces to add into that. You know, however you want to do it, it's fine, but if you play on just the table as they've laid it out in their promotional materials, let me tell you from my experience that you're not going to have a particularly fulfilling time, because that's not there's no heavy cover at all. There's just a couple of pieces of light cover and a couple of pieces of scramble terrain. It's not particularly, you're just not going to have a good time. It looks as well like a paper mat. That's not like confirmed in the text of the article. They call it a mat, but it looks like a paper mat, and it even looks like for their product photography they've struggled to get that mat to go flat. So if you look at where those two decal sheets are like placed, one corner, and you look at where I think that's trying to hold a crease down or disguise the fact that there's a bit of a crease there. If you look here, let me get my famous pen here. That looks like a mighty wrinkle, right? So Games Workshop do this sometimes in starter sets. They'll give you a battle map that's made. It's not like the battle map that you got in Octarius. It's like a poster, effectively. And they're folded, and they're really awful. And if you actually play on it, it's going to last you about 3 games before it gets all dog-eared and curly. And probably best off just throwing it in the bin. You do get some of the snazzy Kill Team orange dice, so that's nice. And I know that sounds like I'm making a silly point, but a lot of people really like the dice that they make for Kill Team because the orange dice seem to have quite a matte finish on them. So you get a pack of the nice dice, you get the actual miniatures for the teams, which are amazing. You get a small format core rules book, which is great. You get the Kill Team Essentials, which is potentially a really good saving if you haven't picked it up already and you're meaning to, so that's positive. Yeah, the terrain is fine, but it's not enough to actually play the game. The paper mat needs to go in the bin, and the Recruit Edition book is kind of an unknown quantity. If it has the full rules for both the teams in, and you haven't got any aspiration for playing narrative play, then it might be a really good thing, because it means you're not going to need to buy the Octarius book, which they've also released separately now, because the main reason to buy that will be for the team rules, but if they're in this little Recruit Edition booklet, then that's saved you the money there. The other thing that this is missing is the secondary objective cards, and I have, as someone who's recently tried to teach the game, I'm actually not sure how you play without the cards. Like, it should logically be possible because all the rules are in the book, but there's not like a little box out that says, if you don't have the cards, roll the dice and generate this and discard this and roll this and generate this and discard this, or not that I could find. So literally, you're getting some index cards and copying out the rules from the book, or just sacking it off and playing like the Americans do and picking your secondaries, right? That's the ITC rules. So if you want to play the way the game is written and the way that we typically do, certainly at like Warhammer World events and things, where you're actually randomly generating your missions, then you're also going to need to pick up the cards. So I like it as a product. I like some of the things they've added. I do think that people who are literally starting afresh with nothing else in the collection are going to need some terrain, and I think everybody's going to need to pick up a deck of cards as well. You do get 2 decks of cards in the card pack, so you buy that once and split it. You split the box quite nicely. Yeah. So that's the Kill Team starter set. And then they've also parceled out the rest of Octarius. So that Octarius box is gone. They've all been sent back. I saw a post from one of the local Games Workshops, not my local Games Workshop, but like the second closest Games Workshop, basically saying I have to send all this stuff back to Nottingham on this date, so if you want to buy it, you can go and buy it. And he still had 2 boxes of Octarius, so if you really fancy this stuff, it is going to be cheaper. Certainly if you're going to buy all of it separately, it's going to be far, far cheaper. to pick up that Octarius box somewhere if you can still find it, right? So you've got, looks like all the terrain from the big Octarius box, which is a great terrain set. I really enjoy playing on it. Now that I've built and painted it, it really does make the game of Kill Team better. I'm sure it'll be nice for some 40k players as well that really want some orky terrain. I think it blends in with the Mech Boy workshop. So if you want to make an orc themed table because you're one of those players that loves orcs, then that might be a really nice set for you. And that looks like it comes with the proper cardboard mat as well, so that's nice. The Octarius book, which I'm assuming is just a reprint of the one that came in the Octarius box, but it looks to me, it doesn't say either way in the article, but just looking at the spine in the picture, it looks like maybe it's hardback. It's hard to tell because these images always kind of look a bit like they might be photographs and a bit like they might be 3D renders, and maybe they've just been photoshopped within an inch. I think they were photographs once, they've been photoshopped within an inch of their life, so I don't know. Maybe it's hardback, I don't know. I don't care, but some people might really like that it's hardback, and some people who are in the kind of cult of guillotining the spine and ring binding the rule books might really hate the idea of it having to be hardback, but it looks like it might be hardback. It's really nice to see the Commandos and the Veteran Guardsmen out in their own boxes. I wonder how many they're going to sell to Kill Team players versus 40k players. Commandos are a unit for the Orcs in 40k, and these are the nice new plastic Commandos models. And now if you're really uninterested in Kill Team and you pick up the box and you throw away the box, and then you've got a 40k unit inside and you build it and paint it. And likewise, I bet they sell shed loads of those Veteran Guardsmen to people that want to build up guard armies in advance of the new codex coming out, right? Because they just like the Krieg and they want some plastic Krieg. Some people, like on my Discord, there was a comment that came up that was like, I thought they were going to put the rules in the boxes, and they're not going to have to put the rules in the boxes. We're going to have to buy a book. I think that the rules are so long, I don't know, you'd have to get quite a little book in your box, or unless you think they were going to produce cards, which a lot of people really want cards. I really don't want a load of cards to have to carry around as well as everything else, but I'm the kind of person that will get the cards and put them in some plastic wallets and put the plastic wallets in a ring binder. But in case that was something you thought they were going to do, no, there's no rules in the boxes, it doesn't look like. But I think this answers a big question, because all this stuff was previewed. Well, no, the two things at the bottom here were previewed, as well as the starter set I talked about on the previous slide. These two things at the top are new, and I think that answers a question that I had, which is how are new players going to get the rules for the Orcs and the Guard? And the answer is that they're going to produce a separate version of the books for all the things. So I guess we can expect that Chalnath eventually will be parcelled out into these 4 products. So you'll have the Tau in a box, the Sisters in a box, the Chalnath book in a box, and then the terrain in a box. And that will really confuse 40k players, I'm sure, that want to buy their Pathfinders or Novitiates and see this box covered in Kill Team branding and don't know what's going on, but I think that's probably what they're going to do. Yeah, and the book, I don't think there's going to be a Chalnath starter set. I think the starter set that was on the previous slide, that was the Orcs and the Commandos, that is the starter set now for the next sort of 2.5 years. That will stay and be the sort of evergreen starter set. And then I believe that all of the future wave big boxes will eventually get this treatment where they're split out into the teams and the book and the terrain. Be interesting to see if it speeds up a little bit, right? So we're now on the cusp of getting our 3rd big battle box, and we're getting the separate releases of the first big battle box. So it's been like 6 months. So if we have to wait if I can do basic math, it's been 6 months. So if we keep having to wait 6 months, that's quite a paywall, isn't it? That's like buy the big box or wait 6 months if you just want one of the teams. Yeah. But then it depends on what they do, depends how popular teams are. They'll find ways to split them out. The people I feel more sorry for, to be honest, because I think if what you mainly play is Kill Team, then buying a big box once every quarter to play Kill Team and keep on top of Kill Team is fine. What I feel sorry for, kind of, are the 40k players who maybe look at it and go, I really want Commandos, I really want, Pathfinders with the new sprue in, I really want those novitiates, and then they're having to wait 6 months from seeing it in this big Kill Team box full of these weird Kill Team things that they don't want to picking it up for their 40k armies. Right, final thoughts. So, yeah, I'd wondered where this stuff had gotten to. Like I said just before, hopefully the gap between the big box and the little box, the split out products, shortens a little bit. I think I'm probably always going to buy the big boxes, because my house is full of Warhammer, and I spend a good portion of my disposable income on Warhammer, and I have a Kill Team YouTube channel, and I'm just that kind of guy. So I don't think waiting for the little boxes is something, the splits is something that I am that bothered about. But we've got to remember, I'm guessing most of the people watching my channel are probably adults, and most people I see at events are adults, but I am someone that also runs a school club for Warhammer. Kids play this game, and having an entry point that is, oh, go and buy this box, and then I'll help you with the rules, and we can have a shared rule book or whatever, is one thing. Go and buy this giant box of thing with all this terrain that you're never going to build and whatnot is totally another. So it's great that they're doing it, and it's kind of obvious that the model is now you've got this premium big box, and that gives you the kind of luxury of having it first, and then eventually it gets parceled out into the smaller boxes. I can get my head around that. I'm not saying it's the best business model in the world, but I understand it, and I understand where we are now, because my lack of understanding of where Kill Team was going and how new players were going to get into it, because it was almost to the point where, until this announcement, it was like, I don't know if you ever played a massively multiplayer online game. If you're on when the servers start, you're there at the start, you have a much better experience. If you try and join after everyone else has got all this stuff, it's very difficult for you to catch up. And it kind of felt like that, right? There were all these content releases and people picking them up each quarter, and going, okay, I play this game. This is kind of my subscription fee that I pay every quarterly to be in the group of people that play the game at, I don't want to say play it at a high level, because I'm not very good at the game, but at least that engage with it and talk about it at a kind of high level. And then you wonder how new players get in, and new players are vital. So that question's been answered, and that's great. I do have a battle report in the works, just to drop that in there. So I played that tonight and taken the photographs, but I decided it was more important to get this up because it's new and it's relevant. And so that's me with my novitiates versus Mrs. Tabletop Impulse with Gene Stealer Cults. So that's coming Wednesday. That'll be going up. Yeah, so I think overall, this might not be that exciting to people who are watching this channel, because generally if you're watching a YouTube channel, then you are very invested, I would guess, in the game. But it's great for the health of the game that we've got a starter box to point to, and we've got those separate, the separate things are almost more of a 40k release, right? But we've got them at least so people that want, I can't imagine who wants them, especially these ones in the context of that starter set, which I am hoping is going to be competitively priced. And that'll be the kicker. If the starter set's pretty expensive, if the starter set is expensive, then it'll struggle, because it will run into its issues of just not quite being a complete game. But the fact that it's there with that paper mat, if you look at other things that are about that amount of plastic, maybe it'll be cheaper. Yeah, and so then I can't see who's picking it up, especially the Orcs, where you don't need a second box to run Commandos. I'm rambling now, like anything, but I think, as I say, it'll be very interesting to see how this stacks up with, say, buying the Essentials pack, the separate box, and the Octarius book. I reckon that the starter set will come out on top. And then you're weighing up the difference between the Recruit Edition and the Octarius book, and I reckon that's mainly going to be the narrative missions, I hope, that you pay for in the Octarius book, where you've got the extra missions and the narrative system and the Spec Ops stuff. But I'm waiting to see, hopefully, people who are more popular than me get early copies of this, and we can see inside the Recruit Edition and understand what's there. Okay, good. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you on Wednesday, when it'll probably be a battle report, unless there's some more news that comes out before then. And I hope you have a really nice rest of your day. Alright, thanks everyone. Cheery bye.